Hey everybody, Spencer Marshall with eXp Realty here. I'm here alongside one of our trusted lending professionals. So Braden, if you would, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Braden Rhines. I'm with the Rhines Group at USA Mortgage, and I'm happy to answer some questions about mortgages in the current market.
All right, Braden. So one of the most common questions we're getting right now in today's market, especially with the news involved, is does a Fed rate hike necessarily mean that mortgage rates are going to be increased?
Well, that's a great question, Spencer. So the short answer is no. Now, it does kind of play into mortgage rates, but it's not necessarily the thing that controls interest rates. Interest rates involve many more players. And just for example, in my short-term memory here, between November and February, the Fed's actually hiked rates about 1.5 points. And at the same time, mortgage rates fell about 1 full point. So when it comes to that Fed's fund rate, when they do what the market expects and they hike it the amount they projected, there's really not going to be an impact on mortgage rates. Now, if there's a surprise and they hike them less, you could see interest rates start to come down a bit, or if they hike them more, you would see the opposite and you would see those rates start to go back up.
Well, I appreciate your answer there. That gives us significantly more clarity as to what the macroeconomic factors of mortgage rates might be. So as you know, it's a competitive market out there, and a common question that buyers like to ask is how long does it really take to get approved for a mortgage?
Okay, great question. So getting approved for a mortgage can be quite easy. If you're a salary income individual and it's $100,000 a year, well, that's pretty easy math, and I'm sure you can support that with some documents. Now, sometimes your application might be a little bit more complex, and in that case, it could take up to a week. But if you're prepared and you have all your documents, you should be able to get approved in about 24 hours.
All right, wow, that's pretty quick. Well, thanks for that. Another question that we get a lot is, once we get a contract accepted, how long does it take to get through the mortgage process into the actual closing table?
Yeah, so the average time in the United States, I think it's up there at like 60 days. In our local market here in Dayton, it's typically gonna be about 30 days. Now, one of the key things you wait the longest for is getting your appraisal back. So if you have an appraiser that gets out there, gets it done quick, I mean, you could close as soon as a week and a half.
All right, Braden, the last question I have for you today is actually something that I'm curious about, and it is, what can my buyers do in a competitive market to make their offer more competitive without actually costing them any more money?
Okay, yeah, so the first one's easy. As you know, there's a pre-qualification and there's a pre-approval. The pre-qualification is a loan officer like myself saying, you know, everything looks good, I'm gonna close this loan. The second part of it is typically what happens in the 30 days that you're under contract, and that's getting approved by the underwriter. Before the process starts, you can go ahead and get yourself as the buyer approved through underwriting, and then you're pre-approved, and that's gonna hold a lot more weight with a seller than a pre-qualification. And then one other little thing that we actually offer is if you're gonna put 10% down and you go through that pre-approval process, we'll actually back your offer with cash, meaning the seller's guaranteed a closing, even if the loan's not clear to close.
All right, Braden, thank you. We appreciate you answering all of the questions today. For those of you out there that might have any additional questions, feel free to give Braden a call. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, thanks, Spence. Happy to answer any calls. Give me a call anytime.